say, you always wanted to make sure that you had cock when you played Old Town because the top advantage was extremely significant, and they usually made it work. And if you go back and you watch a lot of their videos, you'll always see that when they were playing on the high ground, they were consistently able to win because they figured out and made it make it work. And teams and players are going to be able to use this so much more if it's as much of a biggest deal as what you're saying, Scott.
Well,
you have to think the domination.
Domination is different
all over the place.
Yeah, so it's like
because it's different. It's not like execution.
It's not like execution where people they have to play high ground in order to have that advantage. In domination, you have to move or you lose. So
or you lose. Yeah. So good point.
TDM will suck.
TDM is
always gonna suck.
So here's the evolution of that playtest was first couple games, everybody's running around having a good time. Probably about the fourth or fifth game, somebody goes up top and just starts wrecking everyone. And the next thing you know, everybody's fighting over tops. And this was for Gondola. Everyone starts fighting over topside. And whoever had top won. So, I mean, that's still there in those type of game modes. But Domination didn't play anything like that. Not at all.
Just TDM.
Just TDM.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the other thing where once the team got top, the other team wouldn't push up until they had, tons of shit to throw at them and shoot up there, and then finally you'd make a push.
Right.
It's just so slow. You can break a setup because there's enough tools to break a setup, but it just slows it down to a crawl.
Yeah. All right, so Rob, you haven't got to say much, and I want you to talk on everything so far that you can. It's on your mind. Go ahead.
The mic working now? We good to go?
Oh yeah, it's a little loud.
Move my mic away from my face a little bit because I got that loud voice, a little bit too loud. Actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm late to everything. I had some issues at home, but listening to what you guys have been saying, I agree with a lot of the points. The only two game types we have besides free-for-all, were domination, TDM, and it's going to suck if we're reduced down to two as far as the competitive side of things go. I mean, overall, like you said, we had a lot of fun. We played a lot of rounds where they are fun as shit. People are going to pick up the game and have a great time playing it online. It's just when it gets to the competitive side of things are getting a little bit hazy for everybody. You can't go from domination to overrun in a tournament. That completely changes the tone and speed and feeling of everybody. It's a completely different game type, and I think that would suck if we had to rely on, say, overrun and domination only for a big tournament, especially from Gears players. Now, domination, did you guys point out the fact the game, I think Colin can agree with me, the only time it felt boring is if you're the one guy protecting a hill by yourself waiting for spawns.
Yeah.
But other than that,
if you move, then they spawn in there. As soon as you leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only time I felt a dull moment in it. But overall, I feel Domination had a lot more continuous action than King of the Hill did for me, as far as running around, going from A to B to C, constantly battling each other, screaming. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times was my name yelled out when I used Assault Off in Domination? But we need something else. I mean, if there's something else they got, that's going to be on them to reveal it pre-release, or we actually can get it. Hopefully we get some kind of word. I just hope there's more game types out there besides.
I mean, I'm
those two.
just concerned with what Jim said. There's no single elimination game types. So I mean, at the most we're looking at. They also talked about they can tweak different weapons and stuff like on the fly to make like those event playlists like they did previously. But I don't think that we're going to see anything drastically different. I just feel like I don't know. I just kind of feel slighted. Like this feels like a rushed kind of game. Like they're giving us Overrun. Yeah, Overrun could be a game in itself. I've said that multiple times, but like everything else just kind of feels eh. So I don't know.
You saw what I did our last day. I wrote in big words on the board, bomb game type.
Yeah.
Before we left the meeting room, I wrote it in big words.
You must have started going nuts about that.
But
it makes me mad.
We're going in about that, Robert, trust me.
Oh, I know they are. I mean, KL and Colin, they brought it up while we were there in person. After listening to what they said, I kind of agreed with a lot for a bomb game type. In fact, it would be fun as all hell to play that. And by the end of the week, I was convinced that game type needs to be in the game. So they won me over. So look forward to Osty's in 2013. But
I will get this angle, just as someone who I work in the game industry. Kayla, you work in the game industry.
Yeah.
competitive. I mean, I know we've heard it like 100 times, but the competitive crowd isn't the primary market.
It's not. It's not at all.
But that said, their tone has kind of repeatedly been like, yeah, we definitely have stuff in their competitive players.
Well,
you know, like it's there. But now they've announced the game types, you almost feel like there's nothing there at all. Like TDM was going to be a given.
Right. Everyone could probably guess
90%
that.
90% of the crowd plays TDM.
Yeah.
90% of people who play the game play TDM. And then Domination is basically the new king, which is probably the next 5 to 6% of the population. So it's like the other 3%, which is execution players, competitive players, like it shouldn't be that surprising that they're removing all this shit and just leaving us with the bare bones stuff that people play. But at the same time, like to repeatedly say that Overrun's a competitive mode, such and such competitive mode, there's stuff there for the competitive crowd, etc. Like even the gameplay changes are kind of tweaked towards the competitive crowd, but it doesn't sound like there's actually any chance at all for competitive gears. And I'll go ahead and say the Doomsday thing, which we've all been hitting towards.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like competitive gears has seen its heyday. Like it's over. I don't want to say it's over completely, but I feel like it's over. And you know, if you're a competitive player, which has been our crowd predominantly, and you love Gears, like it's either go back to Gears 3, hammer on that, work on that, make that your game to play for the next, I don't know, couple years, or it's not going to be long because next gen is right around the corner.
You can just stab yourself repeatedly in the chest with a knife and get the same results.
But I mean, you know, Jim said that the possibility of, you know, game types, additional game types coming in is there, but it wouldn't be on launch. It'd be post patch. So I just
even post patch, if you're going to make competitive gears happen, what do you have to add? We need King of the Hill back. King of the Hill needs to be fixed, and even having that, I don't think they're going to do it.
So you would have that. Joe, sorry to cut you off, but you would say King of the Hill, and then Dom would be the two game types to play then?
Oh gosh.
No, not that. You still.
I mean,
that's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough. It's not even close enough. We have two game types right now. That sucks.
And one's unplayable.
Yeah. Okay. One's completely unplayable. It's just like we've been set up to get a nice big slap in the face.
I will say,
I'll say it.
That after Gears 2, we've been playing Execution for, what was it, 4 years? And then, you know, when we saw that the numbers weren't there, we were like, okay, we need something else. Let's try King. King, I think, I personally feel like King, the action that King brought at times was better than Execution could have done ever, except for maybe clutches, which happens every blue moon. But overall, I think that, you know, you can't survive on one game type, not in this atmosphere, not for shooters specifically. I think that you need to have at least two. 3 is probably the best bet, but two you can get it done. But I mean, Colin, and sorry, I got to go back to the bomb game type. Just one more. I just got one more.
You're gonna make me cry.
Bomberman over here.
All right,
make me cry.
So the only thing I can watch on Call of Duty, and I hate to make this comparison because I hate the two comparisons between the two. The only game type I can sit down and watch whenever I am looking at a Call of Duty stream is Search and Destroy. And that's the only one I feel like is entertaining because people are forced to move other than maybe Domination. Domination, you don't really know what's happening because people are spraying all the time. But with Search and Destroy, I feel like you get team strategies, you get the pathway down and all that stuff. You see the meta game there, and that just makes sense to me. And why on earth they don't have it in Gears of War just boggles my mind.
And the funny thing is, Call of Duty is probably the worst implementation of a bomb game type.
Yeah.
Just how easy it is to corner camp and wall camp and have just the tip of your head showing from behind a wall. Like it's probably the worst game I've played, which has a bomb game type, and it's still probably the best game type on that
to watch.
Disc.
And it's just so heartbreaking. You guys just don't know in stream like how much I want it. Like I have like probably like a 5,000 word post on the Gears of War 3 forums about a bomb game type that I wanted to see in. Like I put a lot of time in it. I've got a commentary on it. Been talking about it for I don't know how long, and it just breaks my heart. Breaks my heart.
I just want to say real quick though. I mean, we're talking like heavily on the competitive side. Regardless of what may or may not become of the competitive side of Gears, the game is fun as shit though, and it will be fun to play online. It kind of sucks as far as the competitive side goes. You want to see tournaments, all this, but I still think in the end it's going to be a fun game to play.
I think we kind of hit on that early on. Like the game is still good. Gameplay's still good. Game types, the TDM and domination, they're fine. Free for all is fine. Overrun is fantastic. Everything else is fine. Overrun is fantastic. I'm just saying.
It is.
Keep saying Overrun is fucking fantastic. But I don't know. Go ahead, Jess.
I was just gonna say, we had so much fun playing Overrun. Just, us, like, with the people that went to test. So
how loud did I yell at you during those games?
How often would we just, like, yell at each other across the room, at the other team and stuff? It's a great game type. It's fun to play. I think that a lot of the people that might not be very happy about the changes because there is no Beast mode and stuff like that, because I know there's people out there that primarily played Beast and Horde. I mean, obviously they wouldn't be the people that are here talking about competitive Gears necessarily, but there is the people that really like that aspect of the game. So they're going to like it. It's just going to be about giving it a chance, really. But the game is absolutely fun to play. I'm going to get it and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to play it. The question is going to be,
how long are you going to play it?
Exactly, whether the game is going to have a long life or not. Gears of War 1 was the game that I played every night for like 5 hours for like 2 years with the same people. Like it was a custom lobby every day, like that much. And I'm not saying that I stopped playing it after 2 years. I just played it a little less, but I just don't see that Gears of War Judgment would have that same drive, especially since we have 2-3 game times to play.
I just feel like it's gonna get old. Like I feel like it's gonna get old quick unless I play Overrun, which will get old, but I'll be fine because I'm not as good in that game type, so it'll take me a little while to get down everything. But
yeah, you suck. You're the worst ticker.
Yo,
no one can beat the dev
Your Cantus
ticker.
is terrible.
It's okay.
Your Cantus is terrible.
Tips. I'm using ticker tips. It'll be all right.
We've already worked on this. We got some stuff. Got some stuff coming for that. But Joe, you had talked about matchmaking a little bit. You touched on that.
Yes,
and
really want to talk about that.
So I'm gonna transition from the game types, which I'm probably gonna hit again at the end. Gonna go into the matchmaking. I mean, obviously, we can't talk about how the matchmaking is because we only played locally over System Link, so network is fine. I mean, if you're playing on LAN, the game feels good. But one of the things that Jim mentioned in the podcast that I think maybe some people are going to be upset with, because I know there's some posts on the forums that people don't like about it, but ranked and quick match are still there. So you're going to have that quick match population still going to be in there. You're going to have a ranked population. Now, he also said, and this is where I wasn't sure of the clarity here, that ranked has more skill-based balancing. It was unclear, though, if he was referring or basically comparing this ranked versus Gears of War 3's ranked or versus the quick match, which is in Judgment's quick match. And I feel like he was probably referencing the quick match in Judgment versus saying it's better than Gears of War 3, because I don't really think that they are interested that much in skill-based matchmaking, like how we picture it. I think it's more of, and this is a constant battle that I have just talking in the development industry itself, people more lean towards the Call of Duty, everyone wants to play very quick. They just want to in and out, in and out, in and out. And I feel like that only works because Call of Duty has literally millions of people playing the fucking game. And with any small niche game, that means you're going to have a tighter community. That means the odds of you playing a better person is going to be a lot higher. That's where you run into situations where you're consistently playing that stacked party of 5. You're consistently playing against the guy that you have no business playing against, that poops on you, teabags you, and then makes you not want to play the game anymore. So I don't feel like I mean, too, they're going to camera hump. You can still camera hump. There's a guy doing it in my video at PAX. He was killing people. I shit you not. He was killing people in free-for-all, and after each kill, he would hump in the air, and your kill cam goes to him. So you see him humping the air, and you're like, oh, fucking douchebag. So it's like, I mean, that's still there. It's not going to change.
So now, an airbag?
Yeah, I guess it's the airbag.
Just deploy my airbag real quick.
I mean, I really can't stress enough, and I don't know if it's just me on my personal, like, trying to make the industry better, but I feel like the whole CODism type thing where quick is better is not the right solution for shooters when you don't have millions of people playing your game. If you look at the Gears of War community now, I went on this past weekend on Saturday, and there were 7,000 people, 7,000 people in ranked TDM, or TDM in total, 1,500 or so in ranked, and King of the Hill was 2,000. That's it. The game is, what, just over a year old?
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back on Modern Warfare 2, I guarantee there's more people playing Modern Warfare 2, which is a, correct me if I'm wrong, 4-year-old game, than there are people playing Gears of War 3. So, I don't understand why it's not in their minds to make matchmaking a better experience. It just doesn't make sense. It's mind-blowing to me that every developer is like, quick is better. That makes no fucking sense. No sense.
I feel like it's just the lazy way out. And that's just my point of view. I feel like when you used to buy a $60 game, there used to be tons and tons of quality in it. And I mean, I'm sure the story mode's going to be fun. I'm sure it's going to be great. Every Gears usually has a good story mode. But in regards to fixing what the current problems are, I feel like every single current problem we had during Gears of War 3 regarding game types and regarding matchmaking has been, I think just ran away from it. I don't see any situation where there's any sense of damage control that's fixing the current problems that we used to have at all.
It's because of Gears 2. At the beginning of Gears 2 launch, the matchmaking was awful.
And
they loosened up their restrictions in order to get the times back, but I think there was something else that was wrong in that case. But yeah, like, then there's been no turning back. Like, I think they're scared to make any kind of changes to the matchmaking and fear that that'll happen again. They'll have that nightmare launch, which lost a lot of
steam, but
that money.
Come on,
in the grand scheme of things.
But that game was shitty when it launched. Period.
In every way, bullets going to the ground.
Bullets going to the ground. People flying in the walls, sticking in behind stuff. Lots of bugs.
Shitty 5 months later.
5 months later, TU5. We're like, yes, this game is pretty good now. And TU6 comes out, and we're like, I'm not playing this anymore. So. I mean, that's a bad example.
I think that's where the mentality is stemming from, and I can see that. Like, the goal isn't necessarily to make everyone happy; it's just damage control, make sure nothing goes wrong.
Right, and in Epic's defense,
the press is never going to report on the fact that your matchmaking isn't that great.
Right, and
unless it's time-wise.
They don't have a lot of people working on multiplayer. I mean, they're not hundreds of thousands of devs working on cool features. So, I mean. In their defense, yeah, I could see that, but it's like, all right, Gears 3 came along, Gears 2 came along, matchmaking wasn't great, still saw the same issues, population obviously wasn't better, 3 years ago, than it is now in terms of people playing Xbox, so why there wasn't a more of an emphasis on it then transitioning into it, like, let's build the framework for it now, in hopes of getting this better in the future. That just wasn't there to me. The only thing we got was dedicated servers. That's just how I feel about it. So, I don't know, Aussie or Puka, I don't know if matchmaking is like a big deal for you guys, but that has been like, Colin and I did like a 25-minute commentary over matchmaking. We don't.
Well, when it comes to matchmaking, I can see ranked where, to me, more is like, all right, we're playing ranked, we're playing for real. Whereas if you're playing quick match, you're just in it just to jump into a game, have fun, or whatever. To me, quick match should be left as just join, have fun, play, whatever. If you're going to do ranked, maybe put a better matchmaking where you can go up against equal skill. You can have your team of 5, team of 4, and you go in there rolling deep, and you prove your status, etc. And then that would make more sense to me. But if people try to push for a quick match setup like that, to me, that's where it separates.
I absolutely agree with the quick match and ranked, distinction. And I will also say that I absolutely agree with, I think it's both Skiles and Arctic, in saying that with the way that matchmaking is right now, not only do you lose players because of game mechanics or this and that, because the entry level to the game might be too high and they don't necessarily feel like, they can play the game well, but also because it's just not fun getting your ass handed to you, like, no matter what you queue for, if you go into a ranked game and you're put against, like, some of the best players out there. And I feel like that's really something that they're going to have to look at. If they don't want to lose most of their player base. I mean, they've done so many things to quote unquote open up the entry level for 2 years, and matchmaking is just the first thing that should be looked at, in my opinion.
Yeah, so you said lose the player base. Like, if you look at Gears of War 3 right now and think about when it launched, how much steam it had, people were, like, really excited, the beta was good. And then you think about where the game is at now in terms of retention. Like, I'm just not, like, maybe it's the, like, super diehards that are playing, but, like, if that's not a clear indication of something is wrong, okay, well, let's say, for example, they feel like, all right, so we need a complete wipe of all the playlists. We need to completely gut this game and then ship it with light multiplayer and, overrun mode, which is more of a, like, horde beast mode, like you said, thing, and get that crowd addicted to those game types. Maybe that's what they feel like is going to make it better, because it's definitely not going to be the matchmaking experience. And you guys remember, and when I talked about Overrun, I said, like, if the matchmaking isn't there, you're going to pit people against maybe teams, maybe players that don't really know what they're doing, and that's a game type that revolves heavily around teamwork and coordination. So it's like, if they weren't thinking about it, then, like, it's just going to continue on. Like, whether you play Overrun, whether you play TDM, whether you play free-for-all. I mean, free-for-all kind of doesn't really matter, but regardless, the matchmaking thing is still going to be an issue. So I don't know.
If you solo queue and Overrun, you're gonna have a bad time. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's like isn't that like League?
Yeah, I mean, if you do, what is it? Because I don't play
good
French
matchmaking
League.
though.
League has,
It will match you with solos.
Yeah.
Either that, or it'll match you with a party of 4, and the other team will be like 4 and 1.
Which is why I said, isn't that like League with the solo cape? But they have what, ELO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
League is 10 times better at matchmaking than any console game.
Did you hear Jess say we? She didn't refer to. We have ELO.
I play a lot of
She-
League Legends.
She's like, yeah.
She's a Riot now too.
She's
I
like,
play a lot of League Legends all
she's
the
like,
time.
oh yeah, that's my game.
Riot hiring the entire gaming community.
I wish that'd be a job. No, but seriously, I mean, I was having a little bit of a back and forth in the chat while you guys were talking, and it's really important to say, yes, we all want the game to not be dumbed down and stuff, but that's not what we're talking about. Obviously, I liked Gears of War 1, and Gears of War 1 was actually my first person shooter. Well, shooter. I guess it's not a first-person shooter, but it was the first shooter like of any kind that I played. So I was awful at it when I started playing. The hard factor of it didn't deter me, but that's not the case for most people that play the game out there. And if you want competitive, especially competitive Gears of War to succeed, you need people that want to watch it. And the people that will want to watch it will usually be the people that want to play it. If you have nobody that wants to play it because everybody leaves the game, then you won't have a successful game. It's something that they needed to do in order to bring more fans to the series. Let's not hate on that. They're just trying to make the game more successful, and you should be glad that they're trying to make the game more successful if you really care about having further Gears of Wars and competitive Gears of War and everything. So relax on that front, first of all. It's not but I don't know, I think you guys need to understand that what we're saying about matchmaking and put the noobs with the noobs, put the good players with the good players. That's what matchmaking should do. If it does that, then you don't need anything else.
objectively, do you think that the changes for Gears Judgment will bring in new players while retaining the current player base?
Nope,
Because I
No.
don't.
not even close.
I feel like in order to retain the current player base, they need to keep and improve the current modes, and then you can make the changes and stuff, but at least there's still familiarity. But they've made so many just gigantic changes, and I'm not sure where the new people are going to come from to replace the people that will end up leaving, because it's not like previous Gears.
So many players that come in from other games, Call of Duty, Halo, all these other players that come to play Gears of War all the time. They show up for the first 3 to 4 months, and then where do they go? They go back to their games. Who are the people that keep the longevity of Gears? The people who play consistently. Not even talking competitive players, just talking hardcore players, people who just enjoy simply playing Gears of War. And what's Epic's answer to fixing all the current problems? Removing all the game types that everyone likes to play. They're not only doing that, but they're not even completely fixing all the tasks that are currently at hand. So how are we going to get to keep the current base with also bringing in new players and making them actually want to stay and not going back to their currently respective games? How is Gears of War Judgment going to do that?
Well, one of the things that I think that they've maybe figured out is like they don't want to go up against the AAAs, the other ones. So releasing in a time frame that's a little bit better for them might retain people until the holiday season.
Your mic cut out.
Did my mic cut out?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like something that I think that they kind of thought about. But I'm gonna let you guys talk about it here. I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah, I just don't see where the players are coming. Like, I'm not sure how series is even game players. You know what I mean? Like, if you've played Gears of War and you didn't like it, I don't think you're going to buy the fourth Gears of War.
Yep.
Like, I don't think that's ever the case. Like, I think the way which they grow is players get their friends in. You know, they find other people and pull them into the series. And then I'm not sure that'll actually be able to happen with Judgment with the amount of changes they've made. It's going to be rough.
Yeah, not only that though, but nothing's been done to improve the online experience for casual players. If you're a casual player and you hop in, for example, Ocelot, you spoke before how much it's going to suck if you solo queue and you go in by yourself. There's nothing that makes it a better experience for any casual players whatsoever. There is not a single improvement that I see for casual players. They have all these people that are competitive players. We don't see any tutorials that Epic uses from people that are currently playing, have played the game for a long time to help make it easier for these new players. You know what I mean? Or on top of that, a better matchmaking system with less quick match, which is what I thought should have been done. I hit the topic real quick, I guess. But we have quick match, I guess, for every single game type, right, guys? So we have it for the 5 game types we currently have. I personally thought before we should have had the old game types have those fixed, with what they're currently giving us now, and then having quick match, putting all the quick match players in the same game type, and you could vote for whatever game type you wanted to play. I know it's a lot of work for Epic, but if they did do it that way, I just think the experience overall would have been a lot better, and the rank matching playlist wouldn't be so dead all the time. I don't know how you guys think, but that's the way I look at it.
It's going to be tough. I mean, overall, they want to bring in more people. That's with any game, though. Any series, any franchise. You want to build a bigger fan base, regardless who you lose in the end. But to pull in new players, again, they're going to get angry. They're going to go into Overrun and be like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. I'll play with my buds. But the second you go in alone, you're going to go up against a team of 5